Stocks hit new all-time highs, and oil easing as an Iran deal hangs in the balance. Investors badly want to believe that the good times will keep on rolling. But could renewed fighting in the Middle East threaten to sink this rally? Not today. Not now. Welcome to the Big Money Show. I'm Dagan McDowell, along with my co-hosts, David Asman, Brian Bremberg, Jackie DeAngelis. And with us this hour, always loaded for bear.
There you go. You got to smile at
and elk.
Come on.
And God
and
knows
bankers.
what else.
And investment bankers.
Fox Business senior correspondent Charlie Gasparino. Talks to end the war are taking place in Qatar. President Trump says the negotiations are proceeding nicely, but the situation remains volatile. The U.S. launching self-defense strikes and Iran threatening retaliation. Secretary of State Marco Rubio drawing a hard line. The Strait of Hormuz must be reopened.
The straits have to be open. They're going to be open one way or the other. So they need to be open. What's happening there is unlawful. It's illegal. It's unsustainable for the world. There's no country in the world that's in favor of a tolling system except the regime in Iran. So that's not acceptable. That cannot happen. The straits need to be open, unimpeded, without tolls. And obviously that needs to happen immediately as soon as anything's agreed to.
Brian, I was so excited because the Wall Street Journal reported the U.S. Navy had restarted guiding ships through the Strait of Hormuz. The protection is a renewed Project Freedom push. And then the White House came out and said the U.S. is not currently escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz. But is it important for the U.S. to show the world that we control access through the Strait and to the Persian Gulf?
Yes, I couldn't agree with Secretary Rubio more. I was so delighted to get that news from you, and I was dismayed to find out that the administration denied that news. But who knows? Maybe it's a portent of things.
Not really denial.
Well, okay, fine. However you want to say it. They said what's been reported is not what's happening, right. But it might be a sign that it could happen. And to me, and I'm not the negotiating expert here, but to me, if you want to finish these negotiations with Iran, there would be no better leverage than to open the strait, guarantee safe passage for friends and not foes, and take that out of their hands. Because my concern is, if we do a deal and we haven't regained control of the strait, that's going to be the chip they keep coming back to. When they get angry, when they don't want to do something, they're going to send the wise guy boats into the strait, they're going to try to drop mines, and they're going to create havoc again. So I would love to see us open that. I hope whatever that rumor reporting is turns out to be just a shred of truth, because I want to see us strengthen our hand if we're going to cut a deal. I don't love the hand we're dealing with right now, and I think that's the key to it.
I think you got to take any concession they make with a grain of salt. I mean, they're obviously one of the biggest liars in the world. I mean, if you had the Mount Everest of liars, it'd be them, China, Vladimir Putin, right? They lie about the nearest Chinese restaurant. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. Listen. We're going to reopen the strait. I mean, you have to do that, right? You can't trust them to agree to reopen. We also, and I don't know what their plan is, but I think you got to bomb them more. I mean, I think you have to literally show them right now, because they keep coming out with these statements, which, get picked up by the U.S. media like it's coming from God, like the voice of God. Oh, we will attack the U.S. and wreak havoc on all its bases. Just finish it a little bit, maybe halfway. Blow up some oil wells. I don't know, but you have to put an exclamation point on what we've done and then reopen it. And then let's see what happens, because you cannot trust these people. They're nuts.
I agree with you on all of that, and I was one of the people that wanted to see more bombing, but I do think the president's between a little bit of a rock and a hard place. My gut is telling me the reason he's not moving forward with bombing is because he's afraid that he won't get congressional support and funding he needs to be able to do that. I mean, there's a big fight in this country about support for this war, and I think that's the fine line that he's trying to navigate. At least that's what I thought this weekend, when my understanding was that he was really trying to cobble a deal together at any cost. But I will say, I feel like the reporting out there is very confusing. It's hard to have a real grasp, even as a journalist, of what is really happening overseas. Reports out there, then they're denied by the White House. Last night, there was some defensive fire fired on our side. Apparently, the IRGC was mining, putting mines in the strait. That leads me to believe we're not in a great position to be able to retake and reopen the strait. So I ask myself, where are we right now? Is this just another ceasefire? The market doesn't seem to think so, with equities moving higher, the NASDAQ specifically, and oil going as low as 90 and change last night. I was pretty shocked by that, but they seem to have confidence in what is happening here.
I don't trust the markets here. This is bull market.
I hear you on that, and so the two might be disconnected, but I'll also add this. I was really digging into what are some of the arrangements being made for the nuclear dust, because the Iranians are demanding a lot of things. They're saying, we want our bank accounts unfrozen. We want to be able to sell oil again. Brian, to your point, all of these financial aspects, that's how we've sort of put their back against the corner a little bit. If all of a sudden we let them have their revenue stream back, they're going to be a nightmare to deal with. Now, Trump is saying, we're not going to give you any dollars until we get the nuclear dust. Well, they're not going to hand it over to us, but they're talking about, supposedly, reportedly, things like, we'll give it to the Chinese, or we'll give it to the Russian. And this is not comical. This is what is out there as reports right now. Right. Or we'll dispose of it ourselves. So there's a lot going on here that is very, very concerning to me. And I've said from the beginning that if you don't move forward and really wipe out this regime in earnest, you will be dealing with them for a long time. They might not have their nukes, but you can't trust that they won't be working on it again. The only sort of rub here, again, is that if Trump wants to take this to the next level and go the bombing campaign, he doesn't have the support that he needs here at home, and that's going to make it really difficult.
But the key, forgive me for jumping in, but the key is the strait itself. I mean, that's what's causing the spike in oil prices. That's what's causing the angst about Republicans worried about the midterm elections. It's really about the strait, and at the same time, you see what Iran is doing. They now have this area of control that's 4 times what it was before all this began. And they are continuing to charge tolls. In fact, Kepler's now, the folks who monitor any kind of movement inside the straits, are now saying other areas of the world are considering doing tolls in international waters as well. So we may get tolls in the Malacca Strait, the Taiwan Strait, et cetera. It really, I think we are all in agreement that this 7-week truce has been nothing but problems for the U.S. side and nothing but advantage for the Iran side. They've taken advantage of the fact that they had to stop. We essentially stopped all hostilities except when, our ships were definitively at risk. And then we'd shoot back, and maybe we did that with a couple of mine layers yesterday.
We did more than that. So Iran responded.
But if I could just finish my point, the point is that the goal has yet to be announced by the White House, which I think has got to be. It has to be the strait. You have to do it now, or tomorrow we're going to start bombing.
Yeah.
They are clearly in conversations with other parties, other nations in the region, and that is part of the calculation
absolutely.
When it comes to the strait. I was just going to say that because you mentioned the bombing of the mine layers.
Yes.
Then Iran responded by launching surface-to-air missiles at U.S. planes, and then we attacked missile launchers.
Yes.
And so it looks like still 2 tracks, diplomatic, military.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm just wondering, listen, I think, popular support for this war depends on the poll, right? It depends on how you frame it. Congressional support, Republicans still have the House and the Senate. You should be able to get some money. I just wonder if this thing is dragging on because this is what Trump likes. Trump wants to do a deal. He's a deal maker, and that he wants to walk away with a deal. saying, I got the Strait open, they're giving up their nuclear dust, and that's why he's elongating it.
But we're further away from it now than we were 7
know,
weeks
but
ago.
this is one of his blind spots. He loves deals, and he'll do deals with anybody, and sometimes it works really well. Sometimes you leave despots in power, like in Venezuela, and it works okay. Sometimes it doesn't work well, and I think this is the time where this sort of lust for a deal is backfiring. Okay, he's got to lance this. What do they call it? Lance the sore?
Boil.
Boil.
You're looking for the word boil.
That's it. Well, I've never had one of them, but so I don't know.
You'll get one.
But
You've had one, you just couldn't see it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. You have to lance this boil now because it's just dragging on way too long.
Okay, so let me push back on that a little bit, because it was also interesting over the weekend. We got all this reporting about Trump wanting to expand the Abraham Accords.
Right.
Okay,
He wants Iran to be in the Abraham Accords.
Well, okay, so he said that. Now, does he expect that? I don't know. He says a lot of things. He's always trying to expand the possibilities.
Yeah, he loves deals.
So David, I know you're skeptical. I share a lot of that skepticism, but I kind of wonder if he's sort of thinking bigger than the moment,
right,
okay? And he says, look, this goes on a little bit longer. If he feels like he's pulling those countries into an Abraham Accord, like orbit, that is a big long-term deal that might be worth.
Which countries?
Well, I hate to give you
countries.
credit because it'll expand your head even further. But Charlie said about 2 months ago, he said, I'm wondering whether or not Trump cares more about his legacy than he does about the midterms. And the clear answer from your point was yes.
Yeah.
And I think I think there's something to that. So I do think, as important as I think the Strait is, particularly to the midterm elections, because it directly affects the price of oil, as we've seen many times, he may be looking more towards an expansion and a reaffirmation of the Abraham Accords. He's seen that our allies in Europe are feckless, that they have no backbone at all, that they didn't stand up. They even were going against us when we were in military activity in terms of letting us use bases that we pay for in their countries, Spain, Italy, et cetera. But the Arab allies have proven to be pretty darn good when we have problems. Yes, they have their moments of fecklessness as well, but not so much as the Europeans. So maybe he's thinking of securing this Abraham Accords even
here's
further.
what I would tell you. This is where it's convergence between the midterms and legacy. You cut a bad deal with Iran, your legacy is not going to be doing very well.
That's true.
And again, first
like
off,
every other
same
president
as the
in
other
the past
presidents
20
over the
years.
past.
no,
20
but
years.
if he really, this is going to be different. You did all this, and then nothing happens, or they get a
I don't know. The
strategic
pallets of
advantage.
cash from Obama were.
I mean,
No.
nothing
But
happened.
if he does,
It's not
if
like
we
nothing
go
happened.
through this, and their sphere of influence, which, as you know, has grown in that region, is maintained, I don't think that's good for his legacy. The other point I want to make is simply this. He's got the other Arab nations in the Abraham Accords. They hate Iran. This Abraham Accord thing made no sense to me. And when I saw he wanted to expand
You mean the throwing the Iran into it?
Yeah, I mean, it was like,
yeah.
No, but the other Arab nations are almost there. Why did they back off? Because Iran was supporting Hezbollah,
you can't
Hamas,
trust them all
and
either.
I'm not saying
like
you
the
trust.
Qataris.
I'm not saying
I don't
you trust
them at all.
But now they hate Iran because Iran started bombing them. So he's got some realignment there. He has to finish this job. This letting this just lie there.
Before
is not
we
good.
move on to Jackie, President Trump is obviously thinking about a deal, but a deal that doesn't look anything like President Obama's Iran deal.
Yes, thank God.
So, which had sunset clauses, no ballistic missile ban, didn't address the funding of terrorism through proxies throughout the region. There were no inspection, like anytime, anywhere inspections. It was a disaster it didn't even do look backs on what they were doing prior to 2003. So if he puts a deal together, if it comes to a close, it will be peeled apart bit by bit. And if there's anything in it that looks like the JCPOA.
Yeah, and that's what got us here,
Do you
by
know
the
that
way.
they've been more intransigent when we negotiate with them? Did you ever notice that? When you bomb the hell out of them, oh yeah, then they come to the table, yeah, they'll talk, you know, they reach out to the Pakistanis. When you actually start being nice to them, we get all these demands. I mean, who are these people? They're demanding from us.